INTJs don't seek to destroy egos, but they do it effortlessly. Their sharp logic, emotional detachment, and ability to see through facades make them a nightmare for the overly confident. While some people inflate their self-importance through status, manipulation, or charm, INTJs remain unimpressed and unaffected. Their quiet confidence and intellectual depth expose weaknesses in others without even trying. Egotistical people thrive on admiration, control, or deception. But when they meet an INTJ, they encounter a mind they can't outthink and a presence they can't shake. INTJs don't argue for the sake of winning. They state facts, dismantle illusions, and move on. If you've ever watched an INTJ completely unnerve someone with a single sentence, here's why it happens so naturally. Number 1. They see through every facade instantly. Egotistical people rely on illusions and social manipulation to maintain their confidence, but INTJs see straight through them. While most people fall for charm, status, or confidence tricks, INTJs focus on logic, consistency, and underlying motives. They analyze body language, speech patterns, and behaviors, spotting the cracks in a person's self-image within seconds. The moment an INTJ detects insecurity masked as arrogance, they become completely uninterested. This lack of reaction alone can shake an egotist, but if the INTJ does choose to engage, they'll ask one simple, cutting question that exposes the other person's weakness. Unlike most, they don't argue emotionally. They strategically dismantle false confidence with pure reason. When an INTJ isn't impressed, it forces the other person to confront how fragile their ego really is. Number 2, they intimidate with pure intelligence. INTJs don't boast about their intelligence. They let their knowledge speak for itself. Unlike those who rely on charm or confidence to appear smart, INTJs actually know what they're talking about. When an arrogant person tries to assert intellectual dominance, the INTJ simply responds with undeniable facts, deeper insights, and a level of clarity that makes the other person feel unprepared. This instantly shatters superficial confidence because INTJs don't just think ahead, they think in ways others don't even consider. Most people can fake intelligence around the average person, but never around an INTJ. The worst part, INTJs don't even try to embarrass others. It just happens naturally. The realization that they aren't the smartest person in the room is often enough to break an ego completely. Number 3, they are immune to emotional manipulation. Manipulators rely on guilt, flattery, and emotional control to maintain their influence, but none of it works on an INTJ. When someone tries to use emotions to sway them, they respond with cold logic and an unshakable sense of reality. This frustrates those who thrive on controlling others, as they quickly realize their usual tactics hold no power here. INTJs don't react emotionally. They analyze, deconstruct, and expose the real agenda. This ability to resist mind games makes them immune to false narratives, guilt-tripping, and ego-driven manipulation. Egotistical people feel powerless when they can't provoke a reaction, which shakes their entire sense of control. The more someone tries to manipulate an INTJ, the more their own insecurities are laid bare for everyone to see. Number 4, their silence is more powerful than words. Most people feel the need to argue, explain, or defend themselves, but INTJs know that silence is often the most devastating response. When an egotistical person brags, demands attention, or tries to dominate a conversation, the INTJ simply gives them nothing. No reaction, no validation, just a blank stare and an unimpressed expression. This forces the other person to confront their own insecurity, realizing that their usual tactics aren't working. INTJs understand that silence creates doubt, discomfort, and self-reflection, which is far more effective than arguing. The more an egotist tries to get a reaction, the more obvious their desperation becomes. Nothing breaks an ego faster than realizing you're being ignored by someone who sees straight through you. Number 5, they expose logical inconsistencies effortlessly. INTJs don't just listen to what people say, they analyze whether it makes sense. Arrogant people often build their confidence on half-truths, exaggerated achievements, or flawed reasoning. While others may nod along, an INTJ will casually ask one devastating question that exposes the contradiction. The moment someone stumbles over their own logic, their confidence begins to collapse. INTJs don't even have to attack. They simply point out the inconsistencies and let reality do the rest. This ability to dismantle flawed reasoning with just a few words leaves egotists scrambling for excuses. When their confidence is built on weak foundations, one INTJ observation can bring the entire structure crashing down. Number 6. They don't play social status games. Egotistical people often base their worth on status, reputation, or external validation, but INTJs couldn't care less. They don't seek approval, they don't chase popularity, and they don't participate in petty status competitions. This terrifies those who rely on social power because they can't control someone who doesn't care about being accepted. An INTJ's detachment from social expectations makes them completely unpredictable and untouchable. If someone tries to use authority, popularity, or wealth to impress them, the INTJ's lack of reaction instantly makes the egotist feel insignificant. Nothing is more unsettling to an attention seeker than realizing their tricks don't work on the one person who actually matters. Number 7. They make people confront their own insecurities. INTJs don't intentionally go around exposing people, but their presence forces others to face their own weaknesses. Their self-assured nature highlights the insecurity in others, even without saying a word. People who rely on external validation often feel uneasy around INTJs because they sense the INTJ doesn't need approval. This contrast makes them question their own self-worth, leading to frustration or defensiveness. If an INTJ does engage, they'll ask one question that forces the person to reflect on their own contradictions. Most people avoid introspection, but INTJs make it unavoidable. The realization that their confidence is fragile hits harder than any insult ever could. Egos break when people realize they've been fooling themselves all along. Number 8. They aren't interested in ego battles, and that's the ultimate power move. The greatest way to break an ego is to refuse to engage with it. INTJs don't argue for the sake of dominance, they argue only when it's worth their time. This mindset alone makes egotists feel powerless and insignificant. While others compete for attention, INTJs remain calm, detached, and unbothered. Arrogant people expect resistance, admiration, or submission, but when they get cold indifference instead, it destroys them. INTJs don't need validation, and that fact alone gives them more power than anyone seeking attention. In the end, the ultimate ego breaker is someone who simply doesn't care about the game at all. Are you an INTJ? If this resonates, you're one of us. Subscribe for deep insights into psychology, strategy, and mastering your unique mindset.